1. Armed struggle. 2. Armed struggle. Deep. Knowledge. Strong. Action. 3. Struggle. Li Quan, struggle is pursuit of advantage. Once emptiness and fullness are determined, one may then struggle with others for advantage. Wang Shi, struggle means struggle for advantage, those who get the advantages are thereby victorious. One should first determine whether to use light or heavy arms, and assess whether to approach indirectly or directly, not allowing opponents to take advantage of one's toil. Master Sun, the ordinary rule for use of political, military, force is for the political, military, command to receive the orders from the civilian authorities, then to gather and mass the troops, quartering them together. Nothing is harder than armed struggle. 4. Struggle. Zhang Yu, to fight with people face to face over advantages is the hardest thing in the world. Master Sun, the difficulty of armed struggle is to make long distances near and make problems into advantages. Gao Cao, while giving the appearance of being far away, you step up your place and get there before the opponent. Du Mu, fool opponents into taking it easy, then make haste. Master Sun, therefore you make their route a long one, luring them on in hopes of gain. When you set out after others and arrive before them, you know the strategy of making the distant near. 5. Struggle. Jiu Lin, when the opponent really has but a short way to go, if you can lengthen his road by sending him on wild goose chases, you can mislead him so that he cannot come to you to fight. Ho Yangzi, you use a special squad to lure the opponent on a wild goose chase, making it seem as though your main force is far away, then you send out a surprise attack force that gets there first, even though it sets out last. Master Sun, therefore armed struggle is considered profitable, and armed struggle is considered dangerous. Cao, for the skilled it is profitable, for the unskilled it is dangerous. 6. Struggle. Master Sun, to mobilize the whole army to struggle for advantage would take too long, yet to struggle for advantage with a stripped-down army results in a lack of equipment. So if you travel light, not stopping day or night, doubling your usual pace, struggling for an advantage 100 miles away, your political, military, leaders will be captured. Strong soldiers will get there first, the weary later on. As a rule, 1 in 10 make it. Jia Yuan, when the road is long the people are weary, if their strength has been used up in travel then they are worn out while their opponents are fresh. So they are sure to be attacked. 7. Struggle. Master Sun, struggling for an advantage 50 miles away will thwart the forward leadership, and as a rule only 50% of the soldiers make it. Struggle for an advantage 30 miles away, and 2 out of 3 get there. So an army perishes if it has no equipment, it perishes if it has no food, and it perishes if it has no money. Mel Yaokan, these 3 things are necessary. You cannot fight to win with an unequipped army. Master Sun, so if you do not know the plans of your competitors, you cannot make informed alliances. Cao, you cannot make alliances unless you know the conditions, feelings, and plans of opponents. 8. Struggle. Du Mu, no, this means that you have to know competitors' plans before you can fight with them. If you don't know their strategy, you should certainly not do battle with them. Chen Hao, both explanations make sense. Master Sun, unless you know the mountains and forests, the defile and impasses, and the lay of the marshes and swamps, you cannot maneuver with an armed force. Unless you use local guides, you cannot get the advantages of the land. Li Quan, when you go into enemy territory, you need local people to guide you along the most convenient routes, lest you be hemmed in by mountains and rivers, get bogged down on swampy ground, or lack access to springs and wells. This is what the I Ching means when it says, chasing deer without a guide only takes you into the bush. 9. Struggle. Zhang Yu, only when you know every detail of the lay of the land can you maneuver and contend. Melyeoken, local guides can be captured or recruited, but it is best to have developed professional scouts, who need not be people of a specific area. Master Sun, so a political, military, force is established by deception, mobilized by gain, and adapted by division and combination. 10. Struggle. Du Mu, a political, military, force is established by deception in the sense that you receive enemies so that the do not know our real condition and then can establish supremacy. It is mobilized by gain in the sense that it goes into action when it sees an advantage. Dividing and recombining is done to confuse opponents and observe how they react to you, so that then you can adapt in such a way as to seize victory. Master Sun, therefore when it moves swiftly it is like the wind, when it goes slowly it is like a forest, it is rapacious as fire, immovable as mountains. 11. Struggle. Li Quan, it is swift as the wind in that it comes without a trace and withdraws like lightning. It is like a forest in that it is orderly. It is rapacious as fire across a plain, not leaving a single blade of grass. It is immovable as a mountain when it garrisons. Wang Shi, it is swift as the wind in the speed with which it rushes into openings. Du Mu, it is so fiery and fierce that none can stand up to it. Jia Yuan, when it sees no advantage in action, it remains immovable as a mountain, even though opponents try to lure it out. 12. Struggle. Master Sun, it is as hard to know as the dark, its movement is like pealing thunder. Melyeoken, hard to know as the dark means being unobtrusive and inscrutable. Moving like thunder means being so fast no one can get out of your way. Ho Yangzi, you conceal your strategy in order to be able to exert this much energy all at once. Master Sun, to plunder a locality, divide up your troops. To expand your territory, divide the spoils. Zhang Yu, the rule for political, military, operations is to feed off the enemy as much as possible. However, in localities where people do not have very much, it is necessary to divide up the troops into smaller groups to take what they need here and there, for only then will there be enough. As for dividing the spoils, this means it is necessary to divide up the troops to guard what has been gained, not letting enemies get it. Some say it means that when you get land you divide it among those who helped you get it, but in this context I suspect this is not what is meant. 13. Struggle. Master Sun, act after having made assessments. The one who first knows the measures of far and near wins. This is the rule of armed struggle. Li Quan, the first to move is the last to move is the host, the guest has it hard, the host has it easy. Far and near means travel fatigue, hunger, and cold arise from travel. Master Sun, an ancient book of political, military, order says, words are not heard, so cymbals and drums are made. Owing to lack of visibility, banners and flags are made. Cymbals, drums, banners, and flags are used to focus and unify people's ears and eaves. Once people are unified, the brave cannot proceed alone, the timid cannot retreat alone. This is the rule for employing a group. 14. Struggle. Melyeoken, to unify people's ears and eyes means to make people look and listen in concert so that they do not become confused and disorderly. Signals are used to indicate directions and prevent individuals from going off by themselves. Master Sun, so in night battles you use many fires and drums, in daytime battles you use many banners and flags, so as to manipulate people's ears and eyes. Du Mu, have your soldiers adapt their movements according to your signals. Melyeoken, the reason you use many signals is to manipulate and confuse the perceptions of enemies. Wang Shi, you use many signals to startle their perceptions and make them fear our awesome martial power. Master Sun, so you should take away the energy of their armies, and take away the heart of their generals. 15. Struggle. Zhang Yu, energy is what battle depends on. Any living thing can be stirred to fight, but even those who fight without regard for death are the way they are because their energy compels them to be that way. Therefore the rule for political, military, operations is that if you can stir up the soldiers of all ranks with a common anger, then no one can stand up to them. Therefore, when opponents first come and their energy is keen, you break this down by not fighting with them for the time being. Watch for when they slump into boredom, then strike, and their keen energy can be taken away. As for taking away the heart of their generals, the heart is the ruler of the general order, and disorder, courage, and timidity, all are based on the mind. So those skilled in controlling opponents stir them into disorder, incite them to confusion, press them into fear, thus can the schemes in their hearts be taken away. 16. Struggle. Hyan 11. First you must be capable of firmness in your own heart, only then can you take away the heart of opposing generals. This is why tradition says that people of former times had the heart to take away hearts, and the ancient law of charioteers says that when the basic mind is firm, fresh energy is victorious. Master Sun, so morning energy is keen, midday energy slumps, evening energy recedes. Therefore those skilled in use of arms avoid the keen energy and strike the slumping and receding. These are those who master energy. Melyeokan, the morning means the beginning, midday means the middle, and the evening means the end. What this says is that soldiers are keen at first, but eventually they slump and think of going home, so at this point they are vulnerable. 17. Struggle. Hyanxi, everyone likes security and dislikes danger. Everyone wants to live and fears death, so if you chase them to death's door for no reason, making them glad to go to battle, it must be because they have angry and contentious energy in their hearts that has temporarily been taken advantage of to stir them into such a state that they go into danger and imperil themselves without concern or trepidation. Invariably they will regret this and shrink back in fear. Now any weakling in the world will fight in a minute if he gets excited, but when it comes to actually taking up arms and seeking to do battle, this is being possessed by energy. When this energy wanes they will stop, get frightened, and feel regret. The reason that armies look upon strong enemies the way they look at virgin girls is that their aggressiveness is being taken advantage of, as they are stirred up over something. 18. Struggle. Master Sun, using order to deal with the disorderly, using calm to deal with the clamorous, is mastering the heart. Do mu. Once your basic mind is settled, you should just tune and order it, making it calm and stable, undisturbed by events, not deluded by prospects of gain. Watch for disorder and clamor among the enemy ranks. Then attack. Hyanxi, a general, with only one body and one heart, leads 1,000,000 troops to face fierce enemies. Gain and loss, victory and defeat, are intermixed. Strategy and intelligence change 10,000 times, and this is placed in the general's chest. So unless your heart is wide open and your mind is orderly, you cannot be expected to be able to adapt responsively without limit, dealing with events unerringly, facing great and unexpected difficulties without upset, calmly handling everything without confusion. 19. Struggle. Master Sun, standing your ground, awaiting those far away, awaiting the weary in comfort, awaiting the hungry with full stomachs, is mastering strength. Li Quan, this refers to the forces of guest and host. Du Mu, this is what is meant by getting others to come to you while avoiding being induced to go to others. Master Sun, avoiding confrontation with orderly ranks and not attacking great formations is mastering adaptation. Ho Yangzi, this is what was earlier referred to as avoiding the strong. Master Sun, so the rule for political, military, operations is not to face a high hill and not to oppose those with their backs to a hill. 20. Struggle. Du Mu, this means that when opponents are on high ground you shouldn't attack upward, and when they are charging downward you shouldn't oppose them. Master Sun, do not follow a feigned retreat. Do not attack crack troops. Jiulin, if opponents suddenly run away before their energy has faded, there are surely ambushes lying in wait to attack your forces, so you should carefully restrain your officers from pursuit. Li Quan, avoid strong energy. Mei Yaoken, added, watch for the energy to crumble. 21. Struggle. Master Sun, do not eat food for their soldiers. Du Mu, if the enemy suddenly abandon their food supplies, they should be tested first before eating, lest they be poisoned. Master Sun, do not stop an army on its way home. Li Quan, Han soldiers want to go home, their will cannot be thwarted. Mel Yaoken, under these circumstances, an opponent will fight to the death. Master Sun, a surrounded army must be given a way out. Cao, the ancient rule of the charioteers says, surround them on 3 sides, leaving one side open, to show them a way to life. Du Mu, show them a way to life so that they will not be in the mood to fight to the death, and then you can take advantage of this to strike them. 22. Struggle. Master Sun, do not press a desperate enemy. Mel Yaoken, an exhausted animal will still fight, as a matter of natural law. Zhang Yu, if the opponents burn their boats, destroy their cooking pots, and come to fight it out once and for all, don't press them, for when animals are desperate they thrash about wildly. Master Sun, these are rules of political, military, operations. 23. Armed struggle. Working applied rules that govern victory. 24. Armed struggle. Victory. Victory. Victory.